What's up everybody, it's your boy Season. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Metal Robot Spirits Destiny Gundam Spec II. Now this is highly sought after on the secondhand market, so we're going to see what all the hype is about. Let's not waste any more time, let's go! So let's see what we've got inside, shall we? So first we've got the typical Metal Robots Spirits manual. All right, so doesn't look too complicated there. So we've got that. And then it looks like we've got the Destiny Gundam here. We've got some effect parts here with the beam rifle. You've got the sword and the beam rifle that go on his back. You've got the railgun here with the shield, and you've got his wings there with a plethora of hands there. What else do we got? Looks like we've got, let's take this out. And then we have the base for the stand. You've got the stand here with the beam shield, two of those. And then you get the effect parts for his beam weaponry. So we've got that there. So a pretty basic release. Looks pretty good at first sight. So let's take a look at the Destiny himself. So let's take a look at this Destiny Gundam. Now, my first impressions are that I really like the decal work here. Of course, you got the compass logo right in here. You got the decals on the beam boomerang here. You got some decals here on the forearm part here. You've got some decals here on the gauntlet there. So it looks really, really good. I must admit, I think that they did a really good job here. This blue is more of a, I guess I would call it electric blue. And then you've got some silver in here. You've got the die cast parts in here on the knees. So that looks good. You've got plenty of decals on the back. So I think that they did a really good job. I like the face sculpt. It's a little bit more round than the metal build, but I do think that it does look good. And then let's take a look at the back here. So of course you've got his anti-ship sword here and then his beam launcher weapon there. So you do have that. Looks really good. I'm pretty impressed there. So overall, I think that it looks really solid. So I'll be interested to see what its articulation is like. So let's take a look at the Destiny Gundam's accessories. So first up, we have his anti-ship sword. So this one is a different color from the original Destiny, but you do have that there. And then of course, these will come out here and here. I don't really have any nails or anything, but let's see if we can get that. There we go, just like that. So that's his anti-ship sword. Then you have his beam launcher. So you do have this here. It does not extend any further than this, but the handle here is on a sliding track, so you can move that back and forward there for the hand, but that's what you have for the beam launcher. Then we have his normal shield, and this one does extend, so that's pretty cool. Even the metal build doesn't do that. You have to take the pieces off and then put them back on, but you do have that. You got a lot of good decal work in here, so I think that it looks really, really good. A brush gold there. So that's what you have for his normal shield. And then you do get two of his beam shields. So these go on his gauntlet on his hand there. So really you would just pull the gold piece off and then put this on. So this is very, very angular, and they kind of have this layered. So even though it's really, really thin, you have this part here, then you have the more like shiny part here. This is the detail in here with the gold part there. So you get two of those. Then you get his normal beam rifle. Of course, we've seen this before. You got the scope that does move side to side, and then you've got the front handle there that moves side to side as well. So good detail there, especially for being a Metal Robot Spirits. And then you have the railgun. Of course, this was new to Gundam SEED Freedom. So you do have this, and it does have a little handle there on the side. You don't really get any battery packs or anything, but you can take this one off if you like. So you do have that. This doesn't really move. And this connection piece is a lot better than the one that was on the Strike Freedom. You had to have another connecting piece to connect it to the side skirt there, but I like how this one looks. And then you do get two of the beam palm effects for his hands, and these are stuck together, so you're not gonna really be able to take this off, but you do get two of those. I think this is a pretty cool effect. They don't even do that in the metal build, but you know, you do have that, so really all you'd have to do is take the gauntlet off his hand and put this one on there, but you do get two of those. And then you get his assortment of beam sabers. So this one is pretty much for the anti-ship sword here. These are his two normal beam sabers, and then these are for the beam boomerangs. So you do get 5 in total. So let's take a look at the Destiny Gundam Spec II's articulation. For the head, he can go up. He's got a ball joint at the top of the neck and at the bottom of the neck. He can go all the way down like that. He's got some side to side, not a ton though, but he does have some. there. And then let's see if he can do 360. If you can get the chin up over the collar, it looks like he will do it, but that's what you have for the head. For the shoulder, he can move that up. So you move that up about shoulder's length. It does go in, does not really go back all that much, but it can go front like that. So you've got that, it will spin 360 like this. And then of course you do have his big boomerangs, and those do come out as well. So you have that. And then for the bicep, it will spin 360. So you do have that, no problem there. Let's take a look at the elbow. So of course he's got this big old thing on his forearm, but it will go up. So you've got a dual hinge here and there. So you have that for the elbow as his V-fin comes off. For the forearm, you're not really gonna be able to spin it. It's just gonna be wanting to spin the whole arm. So you do have that. Let's move to the wrist though. With the wrist there, you do have a little bit on the gauntlet part. So that will flex up and down, but really not much movement on the wrist itself. You get a little bit, but not a ton there. So that's what you have for the wrist. For the midsection, he does have a little bit of down, so he can go down like that. He will go up, but it really is just back to his normal setting. He doesn't go back any further than that. He does have real good side to side, so he's got a lot there. Let's see if he can do 360. I would say yes, just like that. So real good on the midsection. For the waist section, these will move independently. They do move in and out quite a bit. They don't separate like they do on the metal build, but you do have that for the front skirt. Let's take a look at the side. For the side, you get pretty good articulation there. Looks like it can move all the way up and around there. So looks really good for the side skirts. And then for the back skirts, these do not move separately, but they do move together, but you do get a little bit of movement in the back skirts. For the legs, so let's go ahead and lift up this front skirt here. It looks like it can spin 360. So you don't have to worry about scratching the paint on this one. That is a die-cast ball joint in there. So I think we'll be really good to go there. You can do the splits. I would say all you have to do is try to get the side skirts out of the way, but he can go about that far, so not too bad. And then let's see how far he can raise his leg without the front skirt popping off. So I would say that's about, maybe about 110, 115-ish. Not too shabby. Let's take a look at the knee. The knee is die cast. So you got a good V there, just like that. So that's what you got for the knee. And then for the foot, it will move up slightly, but not a ton. It will go all the way down. It will spin, so you can do that, almost 360. Yep, there you go. So you got that. So you do have that. So you got a little tilt there. I will say that the stem for the leg is die cast, but the rest of it in here is plastic. So just be aware of that. But I think that's what you got for the foot. And then for the backpack, of course, you got the die cast on the hinges there. This will go up all the way up like that. The three wings in the center will move as well. So you can move those up and down. And then of course that will move like that there as well. So it looks really, really good. You can move it in, but it is a little tight. So you can move that in, and then you can probably move it out. But the thing is, you're gonna be hitting the part where the weapons are. So, but it will go back some. So you do have a little bit there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the back. So for the back, of course, you've got with his beam launcher weapon here, you can take this, and then this will actually rotate all the way like that. So you do have that there. So we're pretty used to that with Destinies. So you do have that. It does have a little bit of give in and out. And then you can also slide these out. So they're just this little hook here in the center. And so you just make sure that you line that up to make sure that that goes in there properly, just like that. And then for the sword, it's pretty much the same, even though of course, he would just pull this out. So, and there's just this slot here, and you have to make sure that that goes in there and lines that up, and it'll snap into place. So you do have that. You also have the back thrusters here. So those will move as well. So that's what you have for the backpack. So that's what we have for articulation for the Destiny. I would say overall, it's actually very, very good. It's probably one of the better ab articulations that I've gotten in the Metal Robot Spirits line. It's definitely better than the Impulse. The Impulse didn't really have any front or backwards articulation. This one doesn't have any backwards, but it has frontwards, and the side to side is really, really good. You're gonna be able to do a lot of good things as far as posing is concerned. So overall, very, very good for the Destiny. So here we have the Destiny in some dynamic posing. I think that this pose really kind of shows off his articulation, the ab articulation here, the arm articulation as far as bending his elbows where you can kind of get the anti-ship sword above his head, I think looks really good. His neck articulation, all of this with the legs as far as how wide that those can spread. I think that this looks very, very good, and I'm really impressed. I would say this might be some of the better articulation that I've seen in the Metal Robot Spirits line. So I think that this one is really, really good. And also with the stand, I think that the Destiny is at his best when he's airborne. Now, of course, this one doesn't come with the wings of light, but you know, even if you had that, that would even be more of a spectacle here. And I think that this one is really, really good. So kudos to Bandai on this Destiny Spec II. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to do some size comparisons with some of the other Metal Robot Spirits. So here we have the Gundam SEED Freedom family. So of course we have the Mighty Strike Freedom on the right, the Sword Impulse Spec II on the left. And so I would say, since I had to get these other two out, I think that the Destiny holds up. I think that it holds together a lot better than the Mighty Strike Freedom. But the Mighty Strike Freedom is kind of finicky with the gold parts and things of that nature. He's got a lot of stuff going on with him, and so he's got some weight balance issues. Now, of course, all the weight balance issues are negated if you put them on a base. But I think that the Destiny holds up way better as far as the height is concerned. As you can see, they're all relatively close to the same height, so I don't really see much difference. It looks like the Mighty Strike Freedom might be slightly shorter, but that could just be the way that I have him standing. So I think that overall, if you are someone who likes the Metal Robot Spirits line, I would definitely give the Destiny a shot. I think it's worth checking out. I think that it's a really good figure, and I think it's way better than both of these, even though these are not bad. I would say that the Sword Impulse is good, but it doesn't have any forward articulation in the ab area. This one is good, but it's finicky. So I think that the Destiny does all the things that both of these do, but does it better. So that's why I like the Destiny over these two, but I think overall that they're all good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna bring out the metal build, and we'll take a look at them side by side, the two Destinies. So here I have the Metal Build Destiny Soul Red out. I know that this is not really a true fair comparison, as this one is probably about 3 times the price of this one. However, I wanted you to kind of see the differences, and the reason why I gave the Metal Build Destiny Gundam such high praise in the top 5 video is if you look at this is more close to the normal design of the Destiny. All right, so this is very close to his line art as far as how he looks, the design, and all of that. If you look at the metal build, this is literally a redesign here. So they took it and made it better. You see how the face is very sleek here compared to the face on the Spec II. It's a little bit more rounder. Also, like the silver, and just you have a lot more metal in this metal build than you do here, even though this is not bad by any means. But I wanted you to kind of see them side by side and see why I gave this one high praise. And that's no shade to the Spec II, because I think the Spec II is remarkable. It's remarkable for the size. If you're someone that doesn't like to build, this is probably the one that you want to get. And even though it's slightly more expensive than most of the other Metal Robot Spirits that I've seen, I still think that this one is definitely worth picking up. But also the differences between the Spec II and the Spec I are pretty minuscule. Pretty much the V-fins, to where this is more of a grayish white, this is more of a yellow. This is supposed to be baby blue, even though it's more of like a purplish blue on the Soul Red versus this is all silver. Those are really the only 2 major differences, other than the decal work, of course. But the weapons are the same, all of that. He gets the railgun that the original one doesn't have. But I think overall, I think that this is a really good pickup. If you like Gundam SEED Freedom, I think you'll definitely can't go wrong with this. I do believe that Bandai will make a Spec II of the metal build, and I would be interested to see if they redesign it or if they just put another color on it and then just sell it. Because even though this one is really good, this mold is old, and there is some updates that you could do. Like, you don't really need the side skirts this long. You really don't. And I think that it's just, there's just so much going on with the metal build. It's kind of hard for me to describe in this short amount of time, but it is something that I did want you guys to take a look at. So those are your comparisons between the Spec II Destiny Gundam and the metal build. So now let's get into final thoughts. So last thoughts on this guy. You know, I was quite impressed with this Destiny Gundam Spec II. This guy really does everything well. There's only really one glaring issue that I have, and it's not really even a major issue, it's that the gauntlets on his arms, those have a little ball joint in there. It's a dual ball joint in there. And those can fall off quite easily, especially if you're messing with the hands. Now, if you don't do a lot of dynamic posing, then that's not probably something that you need to worry about. But if you are someone like myself who does a lot of dynamic posing, just be cognizant of that, because those things are very, very small. And since they tend to fall out of his hand a lot, what will happen is they'll go flying across the room. So especially if you have dogs or something like that, it's very, very small, so you can lose it in carpet and things of that nature. That's really my only critique of this guy. I think that he's really, really good. I think them not giving us the wings of light in this set, I don't know why they did that. And I guess they did that with your initial Destiny Gundam release, but I think that, because really you're talking about the wings of light, and really that's it. You get like the beam effect parts for the boomerangs, and that's it. Really, you get a sword and you get the launcher that do not fold like they do for this one. But I think they just added those just because they needed to add something else to give it more oomph if you're gonna, you know, charge what they're charging for it. So I think that overall, I really enjoyed this Destiny Gundam Spec II. This is by far the best Metal Robot Spirits that I have. Of the three that I've gotten, this is definitely the best one that I've seen. It does everything well. It has great ab articulation. If you are someone who likes to pose your figures, this is someone who likes to do that. This is a dream. It pretty much can do almost any pose. Now, that doesn't mean that it won't be frustrating at times, but overall, I think that it's worth it. So out of 10, I'm gonna give this guy a 10. I think he's that good. If I understand now why this one was so sought after and it was so hard to track down, even in Japan, because it's a really good figure. Is it better than the metal build? No, but the metal build is a totally different style than this. And I think if you're someone who likes the high grade 1x144 scale, this is definitely something that you would want to take a look at if you don't like to build or whatever the case, or you may be a retired model builder like myself, where you don't feel like building anymore. This is definitely something that I would take a look at if it was me. So that's what I got for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. Send this one out to all the Gundam Seed Freedom fans. And if you are trying to reach me, I do have a new email, and that is seasonreviews@gmail.com. So if you have ideas for videos that you would like to see, or you have some information that you think I would be interested in taking a look at, you can definitely reach me there. But anyway, so that's what I've got for you guys today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.